Okay, well, cool. I'm just going to jump in. Hi, everyone. I am Kate Byers, founder of Corporate Women Unleashed, and I'm excited to be sharing a client story with you. Lindsey is getting ready to graduate as a client with us today, and she agreed to come in and chat with us a little bit about her story and what brought her here. So, Lindsey, thank you for being here. Excited to hear from you.
Thanks, Kate. I'm totally excited to talk about how much fun this has been.
Yay, God. Well, let's jump in. So, let me just ask you some questions, just kind of rapid fire. Just tell me how you feel about this. Like, before we work together, maybe give us an idea, like, what was life like? What were you struggling with when you came here? Like, what was the life balance piece that wasn't working for you?
Yeah, so when I came here, my job was sort of in the middle of sort of a leadership transition that had kind of just happened. I had been in an individual contributor role for many years and then took on a management position, but sort of still was keeping the individual contributor role. I have 2 little kids, I have a husband, and just all of it was pretty overwhelming. So I think over the last couple of years, I'd really things had come to a head. So I'd been really at a crossroads thinking like, I need to make some serious changes, not happy with where my health is, energy level is low, and really just felt like I lost some motivation to be doing the job that I do love. So I was feeling pretty, I would say, low energy about it.
Got it. Yeah. Okay. So just that whole like, ugh, do I have to get out of bed and go to work today? And life just didn't. So was there a straw that broke the camel's back moment for you, Lindsey, where, I think sometimes life just sort of takes on this pallor and, like you said, we start just sliding, and then all of a sudden, was there something to you that was like a wake-up call or something like, I've got to take action to fix this?
Yeah, so I think 2 things happened. So the first thing that happened in terms of me like trying to really go on this like self-discovery journey was back in 2015. I was managing a team of 35 people. I had one project I was managing myself that was a large project, and then we got a new project in the door, and I was also managing that because my other project manager fell through. And one of the things that happened on that project was my client came to me and he sort of said something that just, for lack of a better word, triggered me, or, now I know it was a script. And I just broke. I just felt like my heart broke. And so that's when I really decided to say like, okay, is this the right space for me? What's missing? Am I going too hard? Where is my family? But then more recently it was this leadership change and just figuring out that I really had a lack of guidance in my role. So.
Right. Got it. Sort of just feeling untethered. What do I do? Yeah.
Yeah.
So what were some of the solutions that you tried maybe before working with us? And why didn't those work for you?
Good question. So I wouldn't say they didn't work. I would just say they worked in different areas. So, but what I do love about this program is I felt like it covered all of the bases. So I had been involved with my church, which was very supportive, very, spiritual environment, but I always got the sense that they really didn't understand what I was dealing with at work. At work, I got the sense that they didn't really understand where I was coming from as a woman and as a mom. Not that they weren't a great place for women, but the resources weren't exactly aligned for the struggles that a woman has in business. So I think those 2 worlds were separately helpful, but then this was really something that I felt was holistic in terms of that approach. Plus, I'd also been working with like a personal trainer and a health coach. And so all these things have kind of tied together in this program to work together instead of siloing them, I guess you could say.
And trying to it sounds like kind of almost having to piecemeal what to do and how to put it together.
Or I felt like I can only focus on one of those avenues at a time. Yeah.
Right. Got it. Okay. So was there any fears for you, or what, like when it came to that point, because I remember our first call together, was there something that you said, wow, like were there any fears you had to overcome when it came time to commit to becoming one of our clients?
No, I wanted to make sure that at the end of this that I felt like I made some progress for the investment, and that it was something that wasn't going to be thrown in the pile of like, oh, another thing I tried that didn't really work. So certainly that was part of the fear. But
cool. Anything you had to do to get over that, or just sort of, was it a leap of faith? Was it more?
No, I think I just really connected with your story, Kate. And I remember telling you that on the first call, just as you were talking, it just felt like if this isn't it, if this doesn't really help me, I don't think anything will, because it's so similar to where I am.
Got it. Yeah. I love it. Okay. And we hear that a lot. I love that. Okay. Fabulous. Okay. So what's one of the things maybe that I asked you to do or in the program that we tell you to do that you think has made the biggest difference? Like, was there something that you were like, okay, that's crazy, or you were skeptical, but you're like, all right, I'll do it. You know, anything uncomfortable and you're like, I'm going to give this a shot. And it really triggered. And
oh, definitely. I mean, definitely the esteem exercises. And it was hard, as you know, it was hard for me to get my head into it. I am an engineer, so I'm very, you know, I have black and white tendencies, but the esteem exercises, I had a hard time with because I felt like I was checking boxes. I was just saying, okay, well, I've got to do this. I've got to write this down. And the turning point for me was when we really dug into like the emotion of it and not just intellectualizing everything and really allowing myself to emotionally go there and kind of explore your own worst case scenario. That was a huge turning point for me. And I know it took us a while because I remember just being like, I don't get it. And then finally something broke and it was just kind of like, this might sound cheesy, but I just really felt for the first time that I had some serious self-love going on. And that was a new space. And then of course it was like, yeah, kind of like this. It wasn't just a straight shot up, but yeah, it's a new little space. So
it's awesome, right? To find that new level of you inside and go, oh,
yeah. Well, kind of to look at the stuff as you write it down, the exercise, just writing down the things, and you're like, man, I'm kind of a badass. Like, I really do like bat all these balls back over the net constantly and almost effortlessly. And you write it down, you're like, wow, I do a lot of stuff. Basically.
That's to life for us. Like, how did that help you then in your life? Like, how did it help you in your personal life? How did it help you in your professional life to get some of that emotion uncovered and out of you, so you're no longer sort of reacting or acting from fear, but based from like, wait a minute, I know what this is. That's,
yeah, I'm not even sure I've reached the end of what that is doing for my life because it was such a suck on my relationships. I was so needy. I was so looking to all these external sources for my esteem. It's like my husband, tell me I'm great, tell me I'm beautiful, tell me. It was never enough. Or my kids, I want them to be X, Y, or Z because it's about me.
Right.
And now it's like, well, I have a value intrinsic to just being a person and being a unique person that doesn't have to suck out the life of everyone around me. And that, again, that's just been so beneficial in so many spheres. But the most exciting part is, I guess, just the possibility and the space that it's opened up. So taking this baggage out is like, okay, now there's possibilities for me to like go put a mark on the world that I hadn't had the energy or the resources to even consider. So I'm very excited about what my life's gonna look like.
Yes, I love it. Okay, so let's talk about that. Let's get this a little more granular. Like, what are some amazing results for you? You know, when you wake up today, 8 weeks later, where are you? And we'll break it down. Like, how's your relationship with your kids changed? Let's start there.
I definitely there was some modules you did on their needs, and I just see their world through their eyes so much better. And I realized that they're not out to like sabotage my morning. They are just little people trying to make their way in the world. And I feel like I've become a better parent with a lot more patience and just trying to listen to them and meet their needs and not make their performance about my esteem. So separating what they're doing from who I am and letting them be their own people, and just as I remind myself that I'm intrinsic about, my values intrinsic to what I am and not what I do, applying that also to them. Like, oh, so you spilled milk on the floor, or you got in trouble at school. Well, let's talk about that. First of all, I love you and I'll always love you. And let's talk about this thing at school. It's not this transactional relationship with them. And I am more patient. One of the goals was just to like not be that mom that was screaming as we got out, getting out the door, get your shoes on, oh my gosh, and no yelling in the house. Wanted to be more of a role model for them. And I can definitely say that's better. I mean, we are getting up earlier. We're trying to do some things that help that, but just letting them have their needs. And really, I've become less rigid because I'm less scared. I'm less scared of what could happen. It's like, well, I don't have that control, but I know if something happens that I have the internal resources. I have the unique character strengths that we can handle it. So it's been a little bit
That's
easier.
awesome.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Calmer, sounds like calmer, easier family life.
Yes, definitely.
Oh, that's huge. That's so huge. Okay, what about marriage? Has it had any impact in relationship with your husband?
I would say almost the same thing. I gave him access to all the base camp stuff, so he's been able to see all of the communications. He's listened to all the modules also, so it was nice to kind of go on that journey with him, or at least have him know where I was going. We worked through the needs map together, but same situation. It's really helped me relieve him of the duty of being my esteem. And that allows me to care for him better and to love him better, because I'm not constantly going, you are not filling me, so I hate you. it's
right.
Like, you are a human with gaps, and I want to think about you in terms of our needs. And, think like an example, maybe a small example was, I figured out that, I don't love travel because I travel a little bit with my job, but he really enjoys that. And so for us to spend couple time together, sometimes that means going out to nice dinners and traveling, which I get to do all the time.
Right.
And he doesn't. So making some space in that for our schedule was a way that I figured out that I could love him better, that I wasn't really open to before, because it felt like, well, it's all about me. Like, I do that all the time. We're not going anywhere.
Right. Like, why don't you understand me? I do this all the time. Let's do something different. And it's all about your way versus like, wait, it doesn't have to be my way versus your way. It's our way.
Yes. Right. And I was so terribly exhausted that it felt like a slap in the face for him not to want to do my way. But now that I have better balance, I have the energy to care for him in the way he needs to be cared for.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Yeah. Okay, so talk about energy. Like, where are you with your health? Physically, are you more active? I know you're still working on some of those things mentally. Like,
so I think that's still a piece I'm working on for sure. I've made some strides throughout this program to try to, be kinder to myself in those goals. I think that's something that you mentioned very early on in the program, and I didn't totally figure it out. I'm still working on it, but it's like this difference between you will lose 20 pounds by your 40th birthday, or you will take the stairs every single day, instead of like, okay, you took the stairs like 3 days this week. Let's make it 4 next week.
Sure.
Or, my knee hurts a little bit. Maybe I'll not do it today. Like, there's grace in that. And I'm still dialing that in, because I still tend to give myself more of a pass than I don't. But trying to be more caring of my own personhood in that, and not beat myself up when the goals aren't met. So,
got it.
Yeah.
So where do you feel
also unpacking the scripts around it? Like, why am I really wanting better health, or do I just want to feel better, look better, lose weight? Like, is it a different goal? Like, what is the real goal? So
yes. Is it another way to just be critical of myself, or do I want to be healthy, or do I need to be a size 2, or what is it that we're really going after here? Yeah, that's huge. Because as achievers, we love to find problems and fester about them until they're fixed. But that really detracts from quality of life in a big way. So where's the energy coming from? Where would you say, like, you've got more energy? Is it just a sense of peace and control now? Do you feel just like things are easier? Like, where is that coming from?
I feel like I've visited several worst case scenarios in my mind and felt those emotions already, so I'm not scared of them. So I know that. So, my job's hard. If it crumbled tomorrow, if things fell apart, I feel like I could regroup and figure that out. I don't feel so terrified about the unknown. And so that is the source of energy that I'm getting back. I'm not wasting that energy on stuff that's out of my control or incredibly self-focused. So it's kind of funny, because it's like, if you think about it in your health, or health insurance, like, we pay a lot of money as Americans on the back end fixing problems, and not a lot of money in the preventative side. The esteem exercises from a mental perspective feel like they're investment in the beginning and not taking it out in the end. So that's been pretty freeing.
That's pretty sweet. That is pretty sweet, because what you're talking about is really losing what so many of us women have, which is that fear of missing out, fear of losing our place at the table, fear of making a mistake, and then what's going to happen. And then when you learn that the fear is just inside of you, that's not, necessarily real. I mean, we all have fear, but you can handle whatever happens. That's pretty empowering. That sounds awesome.
People aren't thinking about me like a fraction as much as I'm thinking about me. Like they're thinking about them. They don't.
Right. We all walk in the room and they're like, what does everyone think about me? And they're like, they're not thinking about you at all. They're like,
not at all. Yeah.
Their shoes or their coffee. Like,
or even the dumbest thing I've ever done. Like they've probably forgot about it like in a week or two at most. And like, I dwell on it forever. It's like,
right. Right. We're still suffering 2 years later from something we said, like whatever. What about at work? Like, do you find with that mental release how does that come into work? If at all? Like, do you feel more, I don't know, like, just, are you able to problem solve differently? Are you more creative? Are you able to be just more decisive? Like anything that you've seen like an impact in your professional life? Yes,
definitely. I feel like a little bit of a repetitive here, but just the energy that I wasted, like, well, I don't know. This is sort of like when a problem would come up, my whole body would react. Like I would feel like my stomach. I would feel like I failed at something. It was driven by this really bad mojo to try to solve a problem. And I had learned early on in my career that was your edge, that you needed to keep that. And now I feel like in the management side, I feel like if I remove that, it makes me better. It makes me not edgy. It makes me calm and a better leader, and not viewing it through like, how did I screw this up or what's my role in this, but more like, let's roll up our sleeves and fix this together. And again, not making it all about me and my esteem or lack of it.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Because, the other thing I've noticed, Lindsey, is you've worked, and let me just say, you came in and you have attacked everything that we've taught you. I mean, you have applied it. You have been fearless. You've been great about saying like, I'm not sure I'm getting this yet, and allowing that coaching to happen, which has been brilliant. And I know one of the things that it was almost sort of like we didn't have a big conversation about it, but then you went off and applied it, was you do have 35 direct reports, or at least you did as of last week. That's, I think anyone watching this would be like, wow. But you're even approaching that a little bit differently in how, again, the focus isn't on you and how do I lead them, but it's focused on them. How do I help them become who they need to be in the situation, and really putting the onus on them with you there as a support system, which is a very different way of leading, but it's also giving you a higher quality of life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, that's actually was a pretty huge shift. I'm still shifting there and still like getting my footing there, but it goes back to the whole script around individual contribution and feeling like your value at work is because you're doing work. And when you have 35 direct reports, there's this natural tendency to want to do their work for them.
Right.
And not allow them to fail, allow them to grow, allow them to struggle. So there's a lot of scripts around that I was trying to remove and put it back on them, which is a really great shift because it really empowers them and shows them that you're putting your trust in them and not like in me to save your butt every time you screw up or whatever. And then it also allows me to say like, no, that's your responsibility. Like I'm going home to my kids. Like you're going to fix that thing or whatever. So that's been an important shift and to, breach some honest conversations to make sure that we're all aligned on what their goals are and how their behaviors are, allowing them to meet their goals is put a lot more back on them to own their own destiny a little bit. So so that's been really good advice.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah. When you remove the focus from yourself, then you're no longer in the middle of that situation, constantly trying. It's almost like parenting, right? Like we're so worried about how the kids are going to behave because how it's going to reflect on us. Well, we're so worried about our team because we're worried about how it's going to reflect on us. When we remove that like fear of how it's going to reflect on us and just see ourselves for the role we're really supposed to have, which is like, we're here to support you. Like just stand up and take ownership for your own needs, Pretty empowering. That's awesome. Awesome. What about hours? Like, have you found any relief in either the number of hours you're working physically? Do you feel like you have more control over that, or just mentally? Like now I get home, I can disconnect, so I'm not still working when I'm, or I don't know, any of that?
So I'm probably different than your classic client that comes in. So when I came in, I was actually only working 40 hours a week. I had kind of left my the grind, so to speak, just because I felt like it wasn't being effective. So, but I was still worrying a lot. There was still this mental energy that was being left at the office that you know, well, I'm not doing work, but I'm still like worrying about work and snapping at my kids or my husband or whatever. So as that improved, I actually feel like I've maybe worked a few more hours here and there, but when I'm working, I'm really inspired. It's really inspired work. I'm back in like thinking about strategies and other things, or, you know, I'm just going to knock out a few things this one afternoon. And I mean, it might be once a week I work a little bit later, and the husband and I have that worked out, and then I feel on top of the challenges for the next day instead of, you know, dragging or not as energized about what I'm doing. So
yeah,
maybe
racing to try to get things done. Yeah. You're like intentionally saying, no, this is cool, I want to work on this now, or this is the next best thing I need to tackle, versus here's my to-do list of a million things I still have to get off my plate.
Or this thing is like something, another thing I kind of uncovered during this process is that I'm intensely creative. And because of my esteem issues, I didn't want to create many things because I didn't want that critique.
Yeah.
But a lot of these projects are more creative projects. And it's like, I really enjoy the creative process. And now I can remove myself from the pain of being told that's not the right idea. And still getting to get the flow from being in that process. So
that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. And think of all the creative solutions that you're coming up with now, because you're not afraid of speaking up or saying, hey, here's a different way of looking at things. People may or may not accept it, but you're like, okay, cool. Well, then I'll go off and create the next new way of looking at things. Or that's awesome.
Yeah.
Great. Oh my God. Lindsey, what a rock star. Anything else you want to share? Like, is there anything else that you would just say, like, as a wrap up, you know, as someone who's now on the other side of this process, and, you know, like I always say, we're all continuing works in motion, you know, we're still working, we're still evolving, you know, anything that's a next step for you, or anything that you want to really share that you think is important?
At first I thought I might wear you out with my help desk questions, but I never felt that way. So I just want to thank you for like sticking with me, because I could see myself or someone interfacing with me going, oh my gosh. But I never got that sense. I just got, Kate was just like, well, no, keep going, keep looking. And I didn't feel like you ever got tired of working through my issues. So I do appreciate that. I also appreciated just getting to see the other women that are in the same situation. There's so many similarities about how we approach our lives, and it is unique to women, I think, and it's hard to explain that sometimes, but just to feel it and to see that you're not alone in that struggle is pretty powerful. So I appreciate that.
Awesome. Lindsey, this has been great. Thank you. Well, now it's our delight because you'll be in our alumni group, right? So we still stay, and we'll continue to have you there, and you always have a tether to what we do and part of this amazing community. So thank you. Thank you for being
It's going to be great.
Well, thanks for sharing your story.
Thank you. Thanks for asking me.
Absolutely.